Welcome to part 2 of my super messy loft/attic clear out. When I first decided that I would start tackling the loft this month, I had in my head that I would get like a load of stuff out at a time and then spend like the next 3 to 4 days going through that. But the reality has been that, well, I mean, it just takes a lot to get stuff out of my loft. So if you saw part 1, you will see why. It's not the hardest to get in my loft. I do have a ladder, though it takes a bit of an effort to get in there. The biggest issue is the fact that the loft is only partially boarded and the boards that are there are mostly broken. Like, even if there is a board, you can't trust the board. You have to walk along the beams and be super careful, and everything weighs a ton in there. So when I went to get this stuff out, so you saw at the beginning, this is what I got out recently, and oh my god, it took me so long to get out of my loft. Like, every box, like gradually getting it across the loft and out. And then one box was so heavy that I had to take an empty box that I cleared out in part 1 up, divide that box in 2, and even then, oh my goodness, it hurt getting it out. So I had a full-on sweat on by the time I got this stuff out. I was getting this stuff out of the loft the day after I had done a 19-mile run walk in preparation for a marathon that I have stupidly signed myself up for. So anyway, I digress. We're getting stuck into things, and I have chosen to tackle sentimental items today. This may have been a mistake, I don't know, but I find sentimental items so hard. I mean, I feel like that's a stupid thing to say, don't we all? Like, if you've been sentimental enough to keep them in the first place, you're gonna find it hard to get rid of them. But I found it harder than I thought. I also knew that some of the stuff in the loft, because we have quite a lot of sentimental stuff up there, like, I knew that would be hard, so purposely chose to tackle easy boxes on day 1. So when I'm going up in the loft to decide what I bring down, I am lifting the lid on boxes, checking what it is. I am not decluttering my husband's stuff. That is for him. He has got a fair bit up there. He can tackle that another day if he wants to. That is not my job to declutter his things. I am decluttering my things, shared things, and the kids' things, okay? Everything basically that's not my husband's. So firstly, I'm just checking when I'm opening a box, like, is this my husband's stuff? Because it's my husband's stuff, then he can deal with it. And if not, like for that part 1, I was like, you know, I'm opening like lids and thinking like, what is this? And bringing it out. I avoided my sentimental items for part 1 because I wanted to like get myself off on a really good start, make sure that I could clear a load of stuff that like get that momentum up for tackling the rest. So I just think this is a good strategy if you're going to start like a spring clean, a declutter, whatever of your home. Start picking easy areas first, so then you're like, yeah, I can do this, I've got this. Like, look at me getting rid of stuff. And I did get rid of a lot of stuff in part 1 of the loft clear out. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to get rid of the volume of stuff when it came to sentimental items. What I want to do is get to the point where I have 1 box of sentimental items. Now, what you see here, so I've got this large box, I've got the blue box, and then I have this, I actually think that smaller box, the underbed like storage box, isn't sentimental stuff. But then we have the decorative box beside me, which is. That's not all of the sentimental items I have in the house. I have more under my bed, and I'm going to go through that. I want to consolidate it so that I have all of my sentimental items, you know, largely in one place. You know, maybe I can have some photos out handy. If I'm going to look through them regularly, that's absolutely fine. Otherwise, I want them all in one box. So I started decluttering again in earnest in December. I started at the beginning of December, which is like, looking back, a crazy time to start decluttering. I think I realized that at the time, but I had just got to the point where I was so overwhelmed by all the stuff in my house, I could not take it 1 more minute. I think also partially because it was Christmas time, I got all the Christmas decorations out. Suddenly there's all that extra stuff in my house, and I was like, oh my goodness, I cannot cope with this a second longer. But I was also spurred on by the fact that I had lost my watch. It was a gift from my husband for my 40th birthday. It was very precious to me, and I felt awful about it. Like, I had been in tears. It was a really, really upsetting time. And I was like, listen, I gotta declutter this house anyway. And then hopefully, if I start taking it apart bit by bit, I will find the watch. So we did find the watch. I will just say that now. We did find the watch. Actually, my eldest son found the watch, but I think I disturbed it at least in one of my declutters. So I do think that my decluttering really helped us, but also it just gave me a focus. I knew I was trying to find the watch, and has helped massively in terms of our day-to-day living. We are feeling much better in our house, but I would say we are far from the house feeling as calm as I wanted to. So I have not finished with the house declutter. The loft is just part of that. There is still a ways to go. But I worked out that I had decluttered over 45 days in December and January. So 45 days I had spent decluttering my house. So I did a video pulling together, basically a before and after. The before footage, the walk around my house with the after 45 days, but made it very clear in that video that I was still progressing through the declutter. The declutter was not done. This was the progress shots, if you like, the before and during, how I'd got to in 45 days. And I really wanted to show what could be achieved with lots of small declutters, because I do not have a lot of time to declutter my house. I work 4 long days a week as a lawyer. I have 3 children, ages 6, 4, and 2. And I am training, ridiculously, I'm training for a marathon, which leaves me with basically very little time to do any sort of decluttering my house. So I was decluttering for a minimum of 15 minutes, but mostly I was decluttering in my lunch breaks when I was working from home, or in the evenings where the kids were in bed, which is what I'm doing in this particular video. I'm decluttering after the kids have gone to bed. It's already quite late, so I have, a limited amount of time to do my decluttering in. And I know that I've certainly felt before that it was kind of pointless trying to do any decluttering. I was quite defeated because I had so little time, and always feeling like I really needed to block time out of work to declutter, which when you've got kids in school, the school holidays to navigate, you've got other commitments. I'm in this weird period of life where, being a bit of an older parent, I am 41 now, means that I have older parents and mother-in-law who are struggling with health issues and also need a little bit of extra care and time. And I want to spend that time on them, on my family, on my parents, on my kids, with my friends, etc. There's such a juggle when you're in this phase of life. And I know that so many of us are juggling. Maybe you're not juggling little kids and older parents, but you're juggling work, you're juggling commitments, you're juggling all of these pressures on you post-COVID, because I think we've had that period of time where, we had stress, sure, but perhaps we were working from home a bit more. Perhaps we weren't seeing other people quite so much because, COVID, and now we're out the other side of that, and we're thrust back into all of those extra commitments which are so demanding. And it's really hard to find that time to get on top of things in your own home. I know that. I felt it. I'm still feeling it now. So I really hoped that video would show what could be achieved, and I got overall a really good response from that. But the evening before this declutter, this film, I looked at the comments on my YouTube channel because I try and reply to all of my comments. I looked at the comments, and the most recent comment on there was on that particular video, and somebody saying, your after is 5 times more cluttered than my before. And I was just I was literally going to bed, I so wished I hadn't looked. And mostly, do you know what? I have had very, very few negative comments on any of my videos or anything that's made me feel negative. I have had so few, and overwhelmingly the community and the support over here on YouTube has been phenomenal, and it is 100% why I do this. I absolutely love the community that has built up, around my channel. I absolutely adore everyone who's been so supportive. But this really got me, and I'm gutted that it got me. But it'd been a long day. I was very tired. I was very achy, and I was heading up to bed to see that. and I just felt a little bit like, oh, like it's like a little bit of a sucker punch, you know, when you feel like you're doing so much. Like, I'm trying my best here, but also I just thought I would share that because I don't want to put you off if you're thinking, well, I only have those small snippets of time. When I actually reflected on my own journey and what I have achieved, I was like, you know, yeah, it's all relative, isn't it? We all have a different amount of clutter that we can actually cope with. And our lives are all very different. I don't know this person at all, and they also don't know me well, okay? But, you know, I have had a very, very hectic past, I don't know, how old is my eldest child? Approaching 7. So I want to say approaching 8 years has been incredibly busy, incredibly stressful, very hectic. And yes, stuff has built up in our house. It was probably building up before I had children. And then once I had children, it was like any amount of time that I ever had to myself disappeared, evaporated overnight. So I just wanted to share that and also give you some solidarity if, like me, you are struggling to find the time in your day. I would say that I have found spending small amounts of time every day has genuinely helped me, and I will not allow myself to be discouraged by one person's comment, and I will be continuing. So what you'll see, you might have seen in this video, me starting to struggle a little bit in this declutter, I will be honest. Sentimental items are always tricky. There's a lot of emotion in this box. I had pulled out my school leavers shirt. I don't know if you do this for my US friends, but in the UK, when we finish up school, we take a white shirt in with us and like a spare one, not actually on our backs. Usually you take a spare one. Some people just have people write on their backs, I guess. And you get your buddies to write you a message and you keep it forever. And I had actually thought, because I do not enjoy my school years at all. I was bullied a lot at school. Primary school, I would say I had maybe one friend who left after a couple of years and I had nobody. And my first secondary school was horrendous, and it was so bad that I moved schools on year 3, I think, of secondary school, of high school. So I was also very ill at the end of high school. I had occurrence after occurrence of tonsillitis. It was really severe, and it ended up having my tonsils out just ahead or around my exams. So I was very, very poorly around that time. And I do remember going in, like I had been off ill, and I went in with my shirt to have my shirt signed, and then I went straight back home. So I thought that I would bin the shirt, actually. I thought that the shirt would not hold many memories for me, and I've not looked at it, I think, since I left school, over 25 years ago. So I took the shirt out, and the first message on the shirt, the biggest message at the top of the shirt, was from my friend Sarah, who died the day after my 20th birthday. So over 20 years ago, she died in a car accident very suddenly. We were not as close at that point in life, but we had been very close through high school. And we hadn't fallen out or anything. Just after we left school, we drifted apart a little bit. But it was a shock, and it's always sort of stayed with me. And I've thought about her a lot. And seeing the name, her message, it said, you know, always remember the laughs. And we did have such a good time. We did make a lot of good memories. And seeing it was just, it was tough. And I think that's the thing when you're going through sentimental items, you're going to have moments like that. And I knew there would be things I would find difficult, particularly things from my granddad. I was very close to my granddad. He passed, and I kept all of the cards that he wrote me. He always went out of his way to find birthday cards and Christmas cards that had a particular like sentimental message. You know, the sort of cards, they're very long. They usually have multiple pages in them, poems, and he would find those cards, look through, find the one that he thought the message most resonated, and you know, for that person, his relationship with you, and he would make a point of always getting me cards like that, and I loved that. So I'd kept all of those, and in my head, I think, I didn't think I'd part with them, but I thought I would take pictures of them. So take pictures of the cards, take pictures of the messages, and then make myself a little book with those in, and perhaps that would be a way of keeping them. But when I was actually looking at the card and holding the actual card, like I found the idea of that really hard to get my head around. So for now, I've put all the cards back in. I did get rid of some cards, but there were not any from my granddad. So I don't know. What are your views? What would you do? Would you keep all of the actual cards, or would you make because once I've got rid of them, they're gone, right? And I don't want to make myself a little like photo album of them and then regret not having the actual physical card to look at. I don't know. But then I would say, also sensible side of me says, well, I don't get this box out very much. It's in my loft. It's not very accessible. I do not look at it very much. Maybe I look at it once a year, but that's really not much at all. And in the future, am I going to get the box out more? Will I look through these more? I have picked the pictures of him. I have the memories of him. Maybe I keep a selection of them, of my favorites, and I keep the actual cards, and then I let go of some of the others. I feel like that, to me, just thinking about it now, feels like a good compromise to make. And I think if he was still here and I was to ask him, he would be like, you don't keep all the cards, like, you enjoy them, you read the message, your heart melts a little over your granddad, and then like, that's it. But I don't suppose he would expect me to keep all of them. But yeah, maybe I keep a selection. Maybe I try and halve it. That might be something I think about going back through it on my pass number 2. I also did immediately after the declutter, I ordered a photograph box. So I already have one photograph box, which I have under my bed. I think I have another one in here, actually, in this box that I'm going through. But I have a photograph box, and that works pretty well at keeping photos from getting bent as well. And I think really what I want to do is go through the photographs and get rid of the photographs that maybe duplicates, or of like ex-boyfriends that I don't particularly want to remember, or just maybe the scenery ones that I don't remember so much. So actually, when I'm taking pictures now, I always aim to take pictures with people in, and maybe scenery and people, but rarely do I take pictures that are just of scenery, because I find when I go back through pictures and they're just of scenery, sometimes I'm like, where is that of? Like, it's pretty, but which country, where, why, what was it about that? And I don't always want those so much, but pictures with people in, I love. So, and I'm sure everyone is different, and you may be completely like, what are you talking about? Like, I want to see the beautiful mountains and the lovely river, and I do want to see that, but it's the people as well. For me, I think the people are more of the memories of holidays and stuff. So anyway, photo box and sorting out through photos is definitely something I want to do. Cards, I need to wrap my head around. I have a little container of wedding stuff, and I felt like that was pretty well organized. By this point in the declutter, I'm flagging. I've lost all energy. It's past 11 p.m. at night. My husband's gone to bed long ago. I'm exhausted. I've had enough. So I'm just looking for easy stuff now, and I'm not really going through things in any detail. The decorative box turned out to have mostly stuff from my husband, but then also some stuff from the kids. Like, I felt like it started off as a husband box with like cards and things that he got me, and then it became a bit of everything. So I'd like to get it back to that point. So here's everything I got rid of. It really doesn't feel like much for an hour and a quarter spent, because that's how long I spent. But it took a lot to put those things in there. And I'm happy that I got to that point, and I feel like I will make good progress the next time round. I'm going to give myself a day off from sentimental items, and I'm going to tackle some easier stuff in the next video. But just for funsies, here's some pictures of me. So I'm keeping these, but I just thought I would show you. Me and my brother on the beach as kids, him throwing a bucket of water over me. The only topless picture you'll ever see of me riding a bike. My first year of high school, where I was miserable. And I mean, look so young. I think this is my college pass or a bus pass. And my second high school, where you can see I look much happier. And then this is where I first started to dabble in hair dye. I wish I'd never had. So young, I should have appreciated my natural hair colour. And here are two of my besties. Sarah is on the left hand side and my friend Vicky on the right. And I think I'm going to move that picture, those pictures up into my bedside table so I can look at them more often. I will see you in the next one. I hope you're doing well. Bye.